our time has come. You know, there are all these great feminist writers, incredible feminist theory. I think women are sort of coming into their own, and I think we're beginning to assume the enormous responsibility we have for making the world a better place. We're the nurturers and the givers of life, and you know, the preservers of life, and I think we're beginning to kind of wake up to that.
Well, I would say that so far I think New Mexico has so many remarkable women, and that's one piece of it. The other piece is that I think the physicality of Taos is magic. I think we've all read and heard forever about the mountain, but driving in here from anywhere, it possesses its community. And I've often thought that this would be an astounding place to live because it feels connected to its earth and its sky. Women, I think, are very gutsy about waking up one day and saying, you know what, my life isn't working, I think I'd like to try a different way. And I think they have the courage to say, I need this sounds great, I think I'll try it. And I think once you try it here, you're committed.
If you really decide that, you know, this is what I'm going to make happen, you really can do it. And I think it's a combination of the community kind of really getting behind that. I think that this community is unique and sort of, it does kind of have that old frontier-y sort of rebelliousness, you know, which is like, well, that's how you do it, but I don't really care. This is how I'm going to do it, you know. And I think that that's, there is an energy here that I think sort of self-perpetuates that kind of attitude. And I think in regards to food, it's a little bit of the same thing, you know. It's like, okay, yeah, we're at a pretty high elevation. The freeze comes early and late, and yet, you know, it's like, let's figure out how to make this fly.
It's a dramatic place. People are attracted to it for those reasons. It's the end of the road in some ways, in a positive way. You know, like a cul-de-sac. It's easy to get into and not so easy to get back out of.
You got to find what nourishes you. You got to find what supports you, and also you got to know what hinders you. You know, so I can't answer that specifically because everybody, and I'm just now, you know, on the tip of the iceberg about knowing what motivates me and what supports me and what hinders me. So it's not like you're gonna know overnight. I think it's a learning experience.
What am I inspired by? Let's see, what am I inspired by? Am I inspired? I don't know. They say jump, I say how high, no. I'm inspired by, and I learned this word the other day, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's called muritai, and it's sympathetic joy. When you see other people doing their thing, and they're having, and it just fills them with joy, and to see that fills you with joy, you know, and to see other people living their dream and really doing it, you know, hearing other people's stories, like, you know, went to college. I never went to college, you know, so I kind of thought like, oh, what am I gonna do, you know? But hearing other people's stories and where they came from and where they are now is very inspiring.
I don't really know why. I mean, that's a topic that we talk about a lot. Why Taos? Like, why not Bisbee or some other small town like Tucson or whatever? Like, why do people come here? I don't really know. I mean, I think it's the place is just so pretty and yeah, I don't really know. But I think, you know, once you have some people that come here that are metropolitan, maybe they attract other people that are metropolitan, and it just sort of has a snowball effect. Don't know.
Taos itself, the Valley of Taos, the mountain, is a very powerful place. Where you pull your energy from or your inspiration from is different for everybody. And for some people, it's the mountain. For some people, it's the landscape. For some people, they feel it's a spiritual spot, you know. So it's different for everyone. But I think that for most women, their upbringing and their influences throughout their younger years has a lot to do with where they draw their energy from later.
think you're right. It's very truth. I think a lot of people, not only women, but a lot of people in Taos, I think, like to consider themselves self-reliable. And Taos is not a very easy place in many ways, not just economically and to make a living and so forth, but weather-wise and in so many different ways. So we all feel like, oh, we are so tough and we can be here and we've been here for 20-some years and woo, woo, woo. But then when you find yourself in a place where there is need for support, then everybody comes around. And it's just really moving. I had no idea. I mean, I love all my friends and they are my family. But I was very moved by that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think we're very independent thinkers. And people choose Taos, I think, for a somewhat alternative lifestyle, to be away from a lot of, well, the big urban issues, but to still have a lot of culture right here. But we don't. I mean, time after time, people organize and go and tell town hall or the county that they don't agree with this or that, or they want to stop this, and or Walmart, and they're generally successful. And I think maybe we all feed on each other and support each other in that.
Time, we talk about slow food movement. I mean, all these interesting things that come around, everything comes full circle at some point, but slow food really is about using local grown produce, your own chickens, your own beef, your own vegetables out of your garden, and taking the time to cook.
I would like to get as involved with the community, with the young people as I can. I mean, I feel that I've already started on that path with the Taos Youth Celebration. And so my goal is to continue to work things, to continue to do things throughout the year for the youth. Whether it's, throwing, an art show for some kids, or a jam night session for them or whatever, just whatever I can to support the youth of Taos. Because I really, when I look at my kids, especially my own 16-year-old, I see a lot of conflict, because they're at that stage where they're not young kids anymore, but they're not adults either. Yet they're closer to being adults, because they're never going to be that young child anymore. And those are things that they're grasping with and struggling with, and that's what I, as a parent, I fail to see. And that's what I want from, as my daughter, she's growing up. I want to continue to support her and her friends, and to let people know that when they come to the coffee spot, the young people, that this is a safe spot. This is a home spot.
Sometimes I wonder if I do the best job of separating the women's issues out from, is growth really a gender issue? I often wonder. I think for women overall, it invariably has to do with balancing family and work and the other relationships in a community. I suppose that Taos, and again, I don't really know the history, but I think that the Spanish community here has such a strong tradition of women, and I think that probably rubs off on everyone that comes in here.
Well, I feel like people here aren't so attached to a certain roadmap of how you do things, whether it's getting XYZ job and retiring at this age, or having your kids at a certain age, or educating your kids in a certain way. I think people are just living their lives in a way that feels authentic to them, rather than needing to check things off of the life list, which just feels really good. It takes some of the pressure off. And I think it's definitely rare.
It's the life you're getting in exchange for the money. That's something I try to remind myself when I'm broke. But I have this great view, and I have space, and I have a wonderful community, and the community is a really wonderful one here. It's a big barter, help everyone out community kind of. It's awesome. So that's the exchange rate. You know, you can live in LA and make way more money and have to pay everyone for everything and not really have that community and not really, you know, get caught in a rat race. So it depends on where you are. I see a lot of people leave, you know, in parts of their life, and then they come here a little later and rediscover it.
My home is in Ranchos, and I'm very much involved with the acequias and running the water and with gardening and growing food. I'm really into heirloom and organic seeds and seed saving and gardening, and I also keep bees. And you know, the bees are very much a part of my reality at this time, and I'm really into nurturing them and their ancient sort of connection back to shamanic traditions all around the world. So the land and the water is a big one for me personally. You know, the fruit trees, the whole agrarian lifestyle that is very much a part of this valley and has been for, well, millennia.
The interesting thing about agriculture in this region, it was very diversified. I grew up on a ranch where we raised all sorts of vegetables. We had orchards. The fields were a combination of a rotation of barley, alfalfa, wheat, alfalfa, oats, alfalfa, and we'd re-rotate because each of those puts different nutrients into the soil. People were not like technically educated formally, but they understood all of this.
I think when you just wake up and you see the sunrise, which I've been doing a lot, that's hopeful. And if you're a real Native person, you can understand how important and how beautiful that is. And that's a really special ceremonial moment that I think a lot of people don't acknowledge. And the sun is important in Native American culture. And in indigenous culture, the African people, I'm sure, have their ceremonies for the sun and their names and stuff. But to me, that's hope. And I think that if you really understand Native American ideology, theology, that's what they teach you. You get up in the morning and before the sun and you greet the sun and you pray, and that's a new day. You're alive and you're watching something beautiful and special, and that might be your last sunrise. You just never know, you know, you never know. So that's, to me, that's cool. Fresh and new and hopeful. And my name is Dawning, so I think that's pretty cool.
I think camaraderie, too, is the camaraderie of women here. I feel supported by my friends, my women friends, and I feel empowered by them. I feel like if something happens, I feel like I'm lifted up by them. And women in particular, and I think that women a lot of times in other situations become catty and, you know, want to see you fail, and I don't feel that way at all here with my friends.
You go out and mud the church. When they're mudding the church in Ranchos, you go and say, oh, this is fabulous. What can I do? Can I bring food? Teach me how to mud the church. You get involved in the Acequia Association. If you have land here, you make it your business to learn how the water works. You go to the Acequia meetings. You go to the farmers market and talk to people. There used to be bars here. We used to have a bar culture here. That's kind of gone. So you don't necessarily meet everybody at the local pub anymore, which is in a sense sad. But you have to look around the community and see, where's the work going on? Where's the work of the community going on? And the work of the community goes on. We have fabulous doctors here, all of whom could make a fortune in other places, and all of whom have decided to be here as service, and because they love it. So you find where the work of the town is going on, and you involve yourself in that work. And that's how you become a member of a community instead of a tourist who sees this as a movie set that's cute.
We are a small community, but I mean, there's so many great people here. I've been a lot of places. I've traveled many, many places and lived in different cities and small towns. And Taos, just what we have as a community, it's great within itself. I mean, you can walk down these streets, and in the last couple of days I've had a lot of people coming through the shop and talking to us, and they're like, they've never felt so accepted in a town or city or anywhere. And several people have actually said they want to move here because of the way people have brought that, like, allowed them into their lives.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's, people in Santa Fe tell tourists, and tourists tell me all the time that, I don't know if you want to go up to Taos. There are crazy people up there. And Taos has this reputation for being kind of a Wild West still, or a little bit crazy, a little bit, people really get involved in everything that goes on in the community. And often, I think people just like to be part of whatever it is. Sometimes I think some people don't care which side of a controversy they're on. They just want to be part of it. So everybody shows up and everybody has an opinion, and I think that's fabulous.
I had come here with 6 cartons of books, thinking I was going to write one book. In fact, I thought I was going to write this book that I wrote, Vocabulary Silence, a book about war. But as it turned out, I had some experiences here. Now, I'm from New York, I'm working class, I got my feet on the ground, I'm, political and, believe in the material world and everything. And I would go for walks here, and I have to say there's something here.
Well, Taos is an essence, it's like a language. You breathe it, you smell it, you taste it. And so there is an essence here. And I feel that we have an opportunity now, especially in this new shift that we're going through, to be able to bring that out for kids, because it's so dire. And I also feel that, our Mother Earth is in a real, very hard place right now. So that consciousness, again, is real important for me to bring it out with the kids and the older people as well.
The foundation of that for me is family. And for the first time in my life, I have all of my kids all together, all at the same time. There's only 3 of them. And raising them in a place where they feel that sense of family. Because they do. They do. I know that, they have really, really good, close friends that they can rely on and say, if they're in trouble, hey, I need some help, they're there. They even my friends, they go to my friends, or their friends come to me. It's just, it's a big family, and that's what it's about, is that, hey, we're here.
It's a very uncertain time, but it's exciting too. So I think that we are creating our reality, very much so.
And do you think remarkable women will be a big part of the new reality that's coming up?
I think it's critical, yes. Yeah, we have to reimagine it, all of us together, men and women. And, cooperating and working together is the way I see it happening, unfolding.
Ooh, feel love, crazy for your love. And when I get that